everyone, and welcome to the OnlyLandFans show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Robin Seib. Robin is 36 years old and was born and raised in Germany. He now lives in Mallorca, Spain, and is looking for a second place in Dallas right now to commute with his girlfriend from California. Robin studied wood economics, founded his first business around 15 years ago, has always been in the service industry around real estate, including construction, financing, subventions, etc., and founded around 8 companies up to then. Burnt out in 2018 completely, he nearly went bankrupt, and after recovery, got the opportunity to get into investments. He started house flipping in Europe and got really successful, but he wanted to be locationally free and came across land flipping. Robin started in 2020 without ever being in business in the US and has done around 350 deals so far. Wow, Robin, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you for having me. And first of all, for everybody listening, right? I'm from Germany. I speak English since like 3.5 years. So when I'm looking for words, I will just ask you, Kendall. You can help me out at any time. I'm pretty sure about that, right?
Absolutely happy to help you. Happy to help you. We love our international investors here. That's incredible that you've only been speaking English for 3 years. So
Yeah, we learn it in Germany, like in school, but it's like school English, like you learn something in school. I don't know if you learn Spanish or, I mean, you have a French last name, maybe you learn French at school or whatever, right? It's like you learn a couple of words, you can communicate, but it's not really communicating, especially when you go down, when you break it down to a business level, right? So, and maybe that was one of my biggest hurdles in the beginning, right?
Wow. Yeah. Well, it absolutely can be a hurdle, but it doesn't sound like that stopped you from doing 350 deals in the US. So I can't wait to hear about that. But first, can you tell us a little bit about how you got started in doing land deals? How'd you come across land flipping?
It's a funny story. You just like give like a great resume of my life, right? It's always like when you go through that, and then you have all this like many stations you had on your journey, right? And you think, fuck, you did that and that and that and that and that. And for me, like I always say that like the life-changing moment was like 2018 when I really burned out, right? And I love to tell that story because I was like in the trap everybody's in, right? You're like super successful, you seem like super successful. I like over 100 employees and all that. There were like was a lot going on, and then suddenly you're just like lay down 3 months in your bedroom, right? Everything dark. You don't remember anything, right? And after that, I had a really great recovery and had then the opportunity to start in real estate investing, like with house flipping in Germany, what we still do. So my business partner, he's taking care of the business in Germany. It's really successful over there. We flipped like since 2018, a couple of hundreds of units, like do meanwhile a lot of like new construction and flipping and whatever. So everything like with houses we do over there in Europe. I don't have a clue what we do there anymore, but they do great, right? And I'm super happy that I don't do that anymore, because I think when you compare like land investing and like house investing, it's this one thing, right? It's international, it's globally, it's everywhere. And these are the construction guys. If we have some on the call, please. I don't want to judge you or something, but the thing is, there's one question you ask them, right? And it's international. When is it finished? And they tell you tomorrow. They don't tell you exactly which tomorrow they mean. If they mean tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or the tomorrow next month, next week, next year, next decade. That's like complicates things. And in Germany, we have a German IRS, which complicates things, but that's the thing. So, when I started real estate investing, I was again in the trap. I wanted to be locational free. Freedom, is that what's driving me? That's my big why, right? And I was like, fuck, you need to be there everywhere. I needed to go to these appointments. You know how house flipping is. You see like something is coming on the market. You need to be there in an hour. You need to tell I buy that. And it's like really, really fast business. And I said, no, I don't want that. So I took like 2 months off, swapped houses with some guys from Australia. I was like 2 months in Australia. In Western Australia, south of Perth, and I had this one guy, and he gave me a question. He said, Robin, you look so stressed, because he was kite surfing every day. Kite surfing, water sports is my thing, right?
Nice.
And we went kite surfing every day, and we 2 months. I was more or less on a vacation, but he was living there. I said, man, you're here every fucking like day. How do you do that? He said, Robin, you need to make a living, but you don't need to live to work, something like that, right? And I was like, fuck, that was really deep. While we were sitting there,
That's
just
good.
like after a nice session, right? Like beautiful, seeing like dolphins and stingrays and all that. I said, how do you do that? I want that every day. And he said, yeah. And that was like, okay, fuck, you need to go out of house flipping. It's not that what you want, right? And they came back to Germany, and my partner said, hey, Robin, before you quit, hey, there is this event in Germany. And I think you interviewed Jack Bosch a couple of episodes ago, right? And Jack is German, and he made one event ever in his whole lifetime in Germany. And I attended to this event without a clue what was going on, right? Because my business partner, he's like one of my best friends. He said, like, hey, there are these two guys. I know them from another mastermind. Just go there. See, maybe it's something for us, right? And then I was sitting there like 3 days. I will always remember it was February. It was around Valentine's Day 2020, right? I was sitting there 3 days attending to this event, and was like thinking, man, when like 10% of that, what he is talking about is the truth, we would be stupid to not try it.
Right.
Yeah. To make the long story short, that was February 2020. We decided to go in coaching with Land Profit Generator, which was like, at that point, I was directly in coaching with Jack. That was like really nice because, I have never been in the US until November 2021. 1.5 years later, I started this business. I had no clue what was going on, right?
Wow.
So it was really great to talk to somebody, right, who had that experience. And this is how we started. And that was like really a rough start, because what happened in 2020, April? COVID hit the world, right? The world shut down. So we were not able to fly to Phoenix to go to learn how the CRM system works, to learn to know some people. We were not able to open bank accounts, right? Because we were not US citizens. So we needed to pay like 2 people or a guy like 2 times $1,500 just to open a bank account, right? So there were a lot of hurdles which came up. And then we started, and man, it was a tough ride. Do you think how long did I need to make my first deal? What do you think? Come on, I take bets here.
Oh gosh. So how long did it take you to do your first deal? Let's see. So it sounds like it was a long time, and you just got started around COVID. So I'm gonna say, I don't know, maybe 8 months.
That's good. It was a year.
A year.
Kendall, it was a year.
Wow.
And we burned money. I don't know. I think we sent like 60,000 letters. We tried cold calling. And the thing is, when you start as an international investor, I didn't have any clue about the culture. I didn't know what a title company is. I had no clue what an appraiser office is. I had no clue how the whole realtor system works over there with like brokers and realtors and whatever, right?
Right.
And I had no clue what notarization is, how that works over there. And like, it was like, for me, like a year, just like learning the culture plus learning the language. Right. And it was like crazy what we learned. But after a year, I think we cracked the code. Right. And another funny story, right? Everybody's about always like sourcing. How do you do that? Where do you target which areas? I was so frustrated after a year, right? So what I did I was like, we didn't do a deal. We didn't get anything under contract. And I said, the areas, everything is like, wow. So what did I do is I printed out a map of the US, right? Where do we do our next deal? Drank a bottle of wine, took a dart arrow and threw it on the map, right? That's no joke. This is real, right? I ended up in Florida, right? So
Great place to land.
Yeah. But I didn't want to be there. I'm a contrarian, right? I started with Washington State in the beginning to send out letters there. It was a big mistake for a foreigner because I think they don't like us there. Yeah, but it was like so funny. I said, "Fuck, okay, Florida. What do we do next?" So I just like printed out the county map of Florida.
Okay.
Second bottle of wine, right? Dart arrow. And ended up in the area where I do the most deals today, right? So it was like totally random. It was like totally, I don't know, meant to be, universe, whatever. This is the story. And then it was like April 2021. We did the first deal. Oh no, the first deal was in California. I had no clue what California is. I just know LA and Baywatch and all that, right? So, and
It's all one
Universal
thing,
Studios. Yeah, that's like California for me.
right?
Meanwhile, I have a girlfriend from California. I know a little bit more, so I'm a little bit more educated. But um, um, it was like I didn't know about closing costs there, right? So I had like 3 properties adjacent. I had like 3 purchase contracts, 3 sales contracts, 1 seller, 1 buyer, 3 parcels, $12,000 in profit. In the end, I paid like 6 times closing costs and owed the title company $300 with the last closing.
Oh my
Yeah, so that
God.
was my first deal. After a year, $300 short. I called the guy from the title company. I said, you know what? I worked now a year just for you, man. So please give me a $300 discount, right? And this is what he did, right? In the end, I went out plus minus zero, but I did a deal, right? This was it, right? I was knowing
Right.
it was working.
Yeah, there was a proof of concept there. Like it wasn't just like you had something after a year, which was
Yeah,
huge. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Robin, how is it that you like what kept you motivated to do a deal after a year of this huge learning curve of trying to learn a new culture and learn how business works in the US? You ran into this first experience in California where you owed the title company by the time you closed everything. And you just were pumping money into your marketing and not getting anything. What kept you motivated to say, keep going? Like, why did you not say abort the mission? Like, this is not working.
Mhm. It's like for me, I'm a big believer in like you learn from your mistakes, right? So this is it. So every time something shitty happens, I try to watch it. Okay, how can you make the better and turn that around? That was the first thing. But I think the biggest and most important thing is I have a really big why. I know why I'm doing that, and that keeps me going. I'm striving for freedom in my life, the ultimate locational freedom, right? So I'm born and raised in Germany. Meanwhile, I live in Mallorca, not because I need to be here, because I decided for that. When I watch out here, like you are here, over there, it's dark already. We have like 12 a.m. or 12:20. The ocean is there. The mountains are there. It's beautiful. I'm like and I can do that because why? I take my laptop, bring it anywhere. When I go traveling to the US, what I do meanwhile, every 3 months, I just like take my laptop and go there. And I was knowing like this business could mean that for me. And it's not like a business like, like the shiny, fancy Instagram, whatever, coaching, blah, 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 right?
Right.
There are a lot of good coaches. Don't understand me wrong. I use them a lot. I pay a lot of money every year for coaching. But it wouldn't be like my type of business, right? And I was so fascinated by that, like all this different. I'm fascinated by entrepreneurship, by business models, right? I love that to see, okay, hey, how can you turn things? And like when you look from a European perspective, alone on the financing side, what I do is bread, right? So what we had before, like, yeah, so it's like owner financing. We don't have that in Europe.
Right.
Don't have like private money lending, right? Everything is bank regulated, and it's like so the business models around it, lease purchase agreements, contracts for deeds, you name it, right? It's like so crazy. And I always have the feeling when you can think something, you can do it over there. And so I was like super motivated. And of course, I need to say, like, I had a great coach and a great coaching team around Jack, which kept me going. And there were like a couple of conversations which I always share. And it was like, just like stay in it, because I think entrepreneurship is in the end consistency. To summarize what I said, or what I blah 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 the last
Absolutely.
5 minutes, right? It's just like consistency, which keeps you going. And yeah, it was then April 2021. We did like around 60 deals. Then in the next 8 months, and around 300 deals last year.
Wow.
This year
Wow.
it happened. We turned around like I think already just like 85 properties, but we're switching a little bit in volume right now, changing the strategy a little bit. But yeah, it's that, just like stick in it, be consistent. I meanwhile coach for Jack, right? And I always say my students never stop mailing, just like always get deals, right? So this is it, right?
That's
And
incredible.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, the consistency piece is so important. I see so many entrepreneurs and investors like they'll stop mailing when they have like deals coming in. They're like, "Oh, I can ease off on the mailing." Or conversely, if they don't have deals coming in, they're like, "Well, maybe this is not working. I'm just going to stop mailing." But I love that advice. Keep mailing, keep being consistent no matter what. And you said a really important point, which is you always have the why in the back of your mind about why you're doing it, and that helps with consistency. That helps you to be consistent, right? Like your core value of freedom is what keeps you consistent in mailing. So it's not has nothing to do with, oh, I didn't get a deal or I have too many deals to worry about. It's that I want to be free. That's what's causing you to continuously mail, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. So can you talk a little bit about what types of deals you specialize in? Is it infill lots, large land, acreage? What types of deals did you start doing, and what types of deals are you doing now? Hey, land fans! Looking for your tribe of serious land investors? Join thousands of your fellow land lovers in the Only Land Fans Facebook group. We're talking real deals, expert strategies, and game changing connections you won't find anywhere else. This isn't just another real estate group, this is the community where land investors come to level up. Join us at OnlyLandFansGroup.com and join the conversation today. That's OnlyLandFansGroup.com. See you there.
I mean, in the beginning, what do? You do deals, right? No matter relentless, you just like do deals. You send out mails. I was fascinated, right? Having like pulling a list from property owners, sending them mail. Not even thinkable here in Europe. We are like the continent of data protection, right? Everything is a secret. That was like the most ridiculous thing. How you can deal with data, what you can do there, and I think we have been like, how do we deals, right? You know, that's like a really interesting question because end of 2020, end of 2020, end of 2021, going to 2022. I was already seeing for myself, and like we had that in our internal strategy, like in Germany as well, like that something will happen with the real estate market. We were like 12 years, just like one direction here, everywhere in the world, right?
Right.
We were seeing like real estate prices going up. At the same time, we had like massive inflation going on. So, right, when you just like study a little bit of economy, you will know there will come the day where they start raising the interest rates. So, and that, what will that mean for the real estate market? And we had this baby born, and I was not sure what was going on still, right? It was like the time where the first time in the US, I was like still learning. It was like when I've been like the first time there, like this big roads everywhere and trucks and wow, and it was cool, right? And I was thinking, okay, because we invested a lot of money too into this business, right, over the time, right? So it's not that I could like go through a year without external investment, what we did, like, and I was like, hey, how can we protect our investments? So I said, okay, let's don't go in a niche. Let's see that we do like something where we can do almost everything. And what I did then is I just purchased 3 lot bundles with a total lot count of 230 lots. So I purchased like in 24 counties, 144 lots in one package, another 50 in another county. And so I had a lot of inventory. I started financing that, right? I just like started working with private money and all that. And because I wanted to build a scalable disposition process, right? Because acquisition is, I think I figured out how that works. You send more mail and put more people, and then it works, right? So simplicity on that. But the disposition is a tricky part of that. You have a good realtor, or you have like a great system, but you need like to put a lot of work in that. And I wanted to have some time and to have a spread to see, okay, what kind of properties can we sell? And so I built like 3 disposition channels. Where we came really great through the last year. One was like selling small ship lots, right? Lots under $10,000. We had a bunch of them. So what did we do is like we built it like a website which worked like an online shop where people did everything completely online. From cash sales over on a financing sales, it's like run by two people. And alone this, we made like around 180 deals on that site last year.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And we
powerful.
had like the normal lots. Everybody does everything 10 to 200,000, right? So infill lots, like some rural areas, some acreage and all that. And we did that. And we did some developments too, like some upzoning, rezoning, subdividing and all that. So this was like the big bouquet we had like last year, right?
Wow.
And yeah.
So how did you said that you bought like 130 lots in one package. How did you find a deal like that? How did you find a package deal of lots?
That was really funny. It was like 3 or 4 days prior to Christmas, right? Where all of this happened together, right? I had like 3 people reaching out. We got a letter. You want to buy this one lot, but I have like more. I said, yeah, send me what you have, right? And I was sitting the whole time in Christmas. I was at my parents' place. I was sitting at my dad's computer because I needed a big screen, right? When you run comps on like so many lots, I was just sitting running comps. Okay, what makes sense? And, I was able to purchase them. I calculated that really conservative. And I was really, in the end, able to purchase everything, this lot packages, for around 50 to 20 cents on a dollar, where we sold it for in the end, right? And that gave me, of course, this extreme good purchase prices we had to buy them, gave me the opportunity to make more money, to invest more money in the disposition process, to try a lot of in marketing. We had like last year, we spent a high 6-figure amount just alone in marketing to find out what is working, which disposition channels are working, where do we get for which kind of lots, which leads, right? To find out what's the most profitable niche we want to be in, because I didn't have a clue. I could have asked people, and I asked a lot of people. I know, meanwhile, a lot of people because I love to network. This is how we learn to know us, right? It's Facebook, whatever. I visit all my business partners, like I met Brad or almost everybody that I'm dealing with. I met him in person, meanwhile. But yeah, right now it was like we built this disposition machine and it was working. And this is what we do today. What are we doing this year? We're specializing a little bit more in a niche, right? We will go for higher value deals, like bigger cash deals. But the good thing about this is we have this massive disposition machine. And what we're currently doing is we will take this disposition machine and make it available to the public. So what we will offer for every land flipper we will have a soft launch in April and we will go fully live in June. It will be more or less a platform where you can come as a land flipper, bring me a contract, and we do like everything from, we do the due diligence until or up to the point, we do the transaction coordination for you. And if you want the funding, we have to look for that as well. So everything in between, due diligence, listing, marketing, sales, transactional coordination, everything will be done, comes out of one hand. And because I see that's a big gap a lot of land flippers have, right? So, and I was thinking last year, what can you do? Because I couldn't acquire fast enough to feed that monster of disposition machine, right? So, and I said, hey, okay, then let's give that, because I did like around 50 partner deals last year. So I saw like there's a demand for that. People coming to me, can you sell for me? Yeah, we can. But in the end, I said, okay, when this is a big market, because when you do that, you go totally all in with your partner, right? And there were areas I didn't have a clue. I said, yeah, let's just do it. I always look on the upside first, right? And the downside comes then, and then I find another upside, right?
Nice.
But it was like that, right? And I realized, okay, hey, why don't we give this as a platform, as a disposition channel, where you can have all the benefits you have when you engage. Like there are a lot of like great listing sites like land.com and so on and so on. But working with my students, with other land flippers, I know a lot of German land flippers, they have the problem with the time shift, right? So for here, it's now like 12:30, right? My working days start at 2 or 3 p.m. and last until like 1 or 2 a.m. in the night. So I live a complete different rhythm. When you now do this as a side hustle, man, it's so hard. Your family at home and all that. So
Absolutely.
that was demand. Yeah, a lot of American land flippers who just like, okay, what do? You do Facebook, you do this. Who can afford a land.com subscription for $600 a month when you just start?
Right.
Right. And this is like the gap we want to fill, right? Where we want to go like no long contracts. It will be really easy to handle. And this will be the next big step for this year. And I by myself will like find my niche in a little bit higher value lots. This is like the where we go through this year.
Well, that's fantastic. I know that just from talking to other land investors, that is going to that's going to fill a huge need in the market. Until April, because you said you're doing a soft launch in April, right? So until then, what would you tell a brand new land investor that has a lot under contract? It's their very first contract. They don't know how to dispo it. They don't know how to sell it. What would you tell them to dispo this property?
Listen up, land fans. This is huge. We're bringing you the one and only Pace Morby, star of A&E's triple-digit flip and the mastermind behind $450 million in real estate deals. He's coming to our virtual meetup on Thursday, December 5th to share how he's applying his creative financing genius to land deals. Head to olfmeetup.com to save your spot today. That's olfmeetup.com. This is the kind of opportunity that changes everything.
Oh, what would I tell them? It depends totally on the property you have, right? When you have like the first thing, what I think is most of the people starting in this business say, let me do a $4,000 lot.
And then
say bullshit.
Right?
Start with just like a $4,000 somewhere in the middle of nowhere in El Paso, Texas, right? Somewhere in the desert. Yeah, there's nothing instead of like some coyotes maybe, right? Or oil rigs or whatever, right? So this is what you find there. And it's like $4,000 worth. And then you buy it for like $500-600. And of course you have low demand, but I always say like try to focus on lots which are a little bit more in value, right? So maybe starting with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 because there's more money to make on, right? This is the first thing. And when you have one of these lots, you can be a little bit charming and call a realtor. I think that would be your best bet when you can convince somebody out of your network to sell really fast, right? And really good in the end. You need to convince them. You need to talk to them. And what I always think is, I speak to a lot of land flippers, and I don't know, they live in Washington State and do deals in Florida. When I would live in Washington State, I would do deals in my county and in the 8 neighborhood counties. Why? Because I'm there, I'm present, you can build your network, you have your realtor friend and whatever, so you get the deals by time when you stay consistent in your market, right? And this is what I would do. And of course, when you do marketing on properties, try to expose as much as you can, right? Have like multiple marketing channels, use Facebook groups, use like your Instagram account. Lisa, I have a friend from Dallas, actually, he's Hispanic, right? And he just like has his Hispanic community. He just sells to Spanish speaking guys because this is his niche. And that's great. And he just does that over Facebook groups and like mouth to mouth, right? Which is great, right? So there's a lot of opportunities, but I think go for a little bit higher valued lots, find a realtor selling that for you. That would be your best bet, right?
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. So shifting gears a little bit, do you, on the acquisition side, do you use other people's money? Do you raise capital or do you self-fund everything? Do you go to people like Brad? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I found a lot of deals. It makes life easier from my thing. So we started, of course, with double closings. But I realized really fast, like, for example, all this owner financing, right, is crucial to sell properties. Meanwhile, in the moment, since half a year, I could give out these numbers right now. We sell 90% on owner financing.
Wow.
Did you ever close A to B? So you buy the property, B to C transaction, you sell the property, C to D and sell that note on a closing table. Did you ever try to put that in one day? It's not possible. find a title company doing that. They will give up after 2 deals because everybody goes mad, right? So the first thing I started funding was I was starting with selling notes, right? With the owner financing. And because that gives me the opportunity to have it's a triple close, Brad. You're right? But not many title companies can do that. I started with selling that notes because when I can sell every note, every deal is for me like a cash deal when I structure the deals right. Right. So it's like everybody's like, okay, hey, I sell a property for $50,000 on terms or in cash. I sell it for 50 grand on cash, but sell it for 62,500 on terms with a 20% down payment and a 15% interest rate. Because this is what my note buyer wants. And in the end, when I get 20%, I get like 12,500 down, have a $50,000 note. And when I sell it with a 25% discount to a professional note buyer, then I still make my $50,000 I would have had in the cash deal. Right. And this is how I started structuring my deals in the beginning. So every deal can be an owner financing or a cash deal for me. This was I think the first thing where I started with private money or with note investors. And the second thing was, of course, when I bought these lot packages, right? We invested already a lot and the dollar started getting stronger at that point. So it was not so cheap anymore to exchange money for us from Europe, right? Bring euros over there. So we said, with all these fees, we need to build private hard money lenders. And this is what we do until today, right? It's in special kinds, we have hard money loans with yearly interest. We work with Pratigrow, who has a really, really fabulous business model, I would say. We work on JV agreements, especially on bigger deals, right? Where you have a longer time until you have an outcome when we have subdivides or something like that. But I think to build a reliable network of note buyers and private money lenders is crucial for your business, right? Because you can invest your money. Then I invest my money in growing my company and building processes. Maybe you figured that out because of my story. I was excited like a small child. How can you build a process to distribute 240 properties when I bought them, right? It was oh, how can we do that, right? Okay, we need money, right? And this is how I play the game. And this year we shift. We don't know how it works, right? And take all of our learnings, put that in a platform. And we build a funding platform as well for land flippers. I think Brad will be part of that, right? He's so famous. I see him all the time. That's why I mentioned him. There are a lot of other private money lenders which we will have there to make that capital, which is there in the market, accessible for all land flippers.
That's incredible. There is so much gold in that. I love the idea of having your terms of how you're going to sell or create the note be what the end note buyer is looking for. That way you already have a built-in note buyer. Super, super smart. Can you talk about how you go about building your network of lenders and note buyers?
In the end, we're in a relationship business, right? Like every business.
Yep.
And when now, 3 years ago, I was exactly knowing one person in the whole United States. That was Jack Bosch.
Wow.
I remember if there was somebody else, but no, it was two years and 10 months ago when we found it, I didn't know anybody. But when I started my career, I think networking is the most important factor in your business, because in the end, it's not when you want to solve a problem. In my personal perspective, it's not about how can you do this? It's about who do you know who solved this or who can solve this. Right. And this is how I build all my businesses. And so I started networking in the beginning, just online, Facebook, request here, request there, right? There are a lot of great, I always feel in the land community, I mean, there are a lot of coaches out there. Everybody has his own community, but I feel like everybody's in every community and everybody is connected, right?
Absolutely.
And what I really like about the land community, like what you do here, like so nice with your podcast, just building a community where people can speak and learn. You give people a platform who are successful or who did like a couple of things which they can share. This is like what I really like about this community. It's still a small world, right? It's still a small world. It's like when you're pregnant, you see pregnant people everywhere, right? Or when you drive an Audi, you see Audis everywhere. But we land flippers, we are just a small crowd, right?
Yes.
So, and I started like networking, like first of all with the coaches I was talking to, then with the Germans who do the business, right? So interacting with them, and through the coaches from Jack, I just like was introduced to that guy and that guy and that guy, and and then the first time I came to the US, guess what I did? I just like jumped in a car and drove, like I landed in Miami. I met guys in Key West, drove from Key West to Boca Raton, from Boca Raton to West Palm Beach, from West Palm Beach to Orlando. From Orlando, I drove all the way up to Tallahassee. From Tallahassee, I just like explored the area, like met all these guys there. I drove all the way up, like meeting a guy in Atlanta from Tallahassee. And from Atlanta, I drove to Asheville in North Carolina. I drove all the way just to meet that people and to explore the landscape, to see how do road signs look like? How does like stopping on a gas station work? How are these people? I just learn online. And, after that, I flew to Dallas and Pensacola. And it was, I love to learn to know people and how they act and interact. And this is how I think for everybody, really, really important, start connecting with people who are like you, right? Who think like you, who know you, like what you do, right? We didn't know each other, but we both know Alicia, right? And Alicia is great, right? Absolutely. And when you maintain these relationships by time, I mean, with Brad, it was the same. We had like email contact to bring that up, right? I said, hey, I'm in Dallas. Let's meet for dinner. Said, hey, I will bring my girlfriend. Said, I will bring my wife, right? And then we met, the four of us, and we had a beautiful night. And I think when you just like integrate this, we're all entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs for us is business or lifestyle. It's not like a job where you go to. The people I know who are successful like you, they do stuff because they like to. You run this podcast, and I love this OnlyLandFans. This is like the most brilliant marketing I've seen the past couple of months. Sorry to say that, right? But it's like we all enjoy that. And when you surround yourself with that people, the magic happens. Right. Meanwhile, I'm in a mastermind. I've been with them in Cancun, like all the big real estate investors from the Dallas area. Right. Everybody's from Frisco. They go working out in this fancy gym there. I have been there. When you are in this gym and you say hello, and he's this big player and this, it's like, what the fuck is this? Right. And they take me as the German, right, who is living 12,000 kilometers away. They take me with them to the gym and go with me on the mastermind in Cancun. But why do they do that? Because I put the effort in to make the way to them. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway of this episode, giving before receiving, right? So you need to give something that people owe you. It's not the other way around, right? And this is, I think, what is like the key factor of that, what we do today. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, I mean, you just spoke to so many of my core beliefs just in that, but the importance of people and networking, and the fact that this is a collaborative activity, and it is its own specific tribe within the real estate investment world, this whole land flipper community. And it's so important to reach out to people and to connect with people, which is why I've created this community and why I love it so much. The people that I get to meet and the things I get to learn is just incredible. What would you say, Robin, to someone who, let's say they are moving in from the corporate space and they're just getting into land flipping, and they might be really shy and hesitant to go build a network because they don't know anyone, and they may be the only person that's even interested in real estate investing in their entire family. How can they sort of break in?
Good question, man. You're prepared, right? Oh man, it's like, you know, I have a background in the network marketing history, which is like multi-level marketing, right? I work now as a coach, so I know the struggle where maybe like listeners here go through, because when you start like going out of your normal environment, which is maybe a W-2 job and like a corporate environment, there's this special kind of thinking. It's about like, how do I get more benefits out of that? How do I get more days off? How do I just like get more salary, whatever? And I think, especially in the beginning, what happens is when you share with your environment that you go now like in a new space, I would always be really careful with sharing that. When you have a really strong personality, do that. But when you don't have that, be careful, because what these people always do, in my personal belief, and I was running a coaching business for a couple of years, like really deep mindset coaching. We were always coming back to this environment. And these people start holding you back for two reasons. The first reason is they want to protect you. The second reason is they don't want you to get there. They don't want you to get you there where you want to go. Because when you're there, they feel bad that they didn't do it, because it means like extending their comfort zone, doing more, doing like working, hustling. And when you do that as a side hustle, you need to be really, really sourceful with one thing, and that's your energy. When you're a stay-at-home mom, or let's say you're in a corporate job, you run 40 hours every week, and you then set up land investing, you have 10, 15 hours. That's 10, 15 hours you will not have for sport, for your family, for any other activities you do. And so when you start, like, be really careful which you share that for. And here you will see the people, especially like in your relationship you're maybe in, are they really supportive about that or not? When they're not, you have a problem, I would say, right? But be really careful with sharing. And then when you really decide to start with land investing, make a plan, do one thing at a time. Don't think on point A about point D, Z, or J. Start like one step at a time. This is what I always see. People worrying at step A about step M, right? Build massive action, make massive momentum when you do something. Focus on one thing, not on 1,000 things, right? I have this, how do you call that? ADHD, like where you're just like hyperactive. Yeah, this is what I have. When I don't like really focus on one thing, I do everything and get nothing done, right? I procrastinate. So focus on one thing. And when I learned that technique, just like doing one thing at a time, this is where the magic happens, right? When you're new, start sending mailers. Build an automatism that you send, like, you don't need to send 5,000 mailers a month. Send 1,000 when that's your budget. But do that over a year, it's 12,000. Do that over 2 years, it's 24,000, right? When the mailers go out, you need to write offers maybe, right? So you start with writing the first offers, and then a second, you build up a wave. It's about the consistency. And it doesn't matter, when a sprinter runs a marathon, he's dead after like 400 meters. But a marathon guy, he will make that in 3 hours maybe, right? Or 2.5 or whatever. But when you and me take 2 years, we would do the 40 kilometers or 42 kilometers as well. And when we need like a year, 3 months, it doesn't matter. It's the amount of steps you do, the amount of action you take. When you never stop like taking action on your plan, and be patient and like value your situation and appreciate your situation where you're in, and like take all this action, you will always be successful. This is where I believe in. And all the people I know who are successful because they always do the right things at the right time and focus on that and never stop believing. Because it feels like this is an experience I have now in 15 years of entrepreneurship as well. Like, you feel like you're on a plateau. Nothing happens, right? You know that feeling as well, Kendall, right?
Oh, yes.
You do and do. Brad knows that as well. You do, nothing happens. And then suddenly you jump. But like, not like an inch, you jump like 5-6 yards, and you're on a complete different level. Because this step like ended anywhere, and you made the work to get like to the next level. When you just do that, like, Yeah, compound effect, compounding. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's so good.
absolutely. No, that's so good, and there's so many great things in that because I think that, when you're first starting out, at least for me in my entrepreneurial journey, I expected like, oh man, everyone around me is gonna be like cheering me on, and it's gonna be great, and the days that I don't feel good about it, like I have a support system, but it really is not like that. And like you said, it's not because people don't want to see you succeed. It's not, it oftentimes it's because they want to protect you. But I've also learned that there are people that see what they want to be in your reflection, and you are showing them that they're not doing what they want to be doing. And you immediately start triggering people, and you don't get the applause and like the support, right? And that's why these kinds of communities are so important, because we're all kind of going through this and we know what that's like. The other thing that I love that you talked about is to focus on one thing at a time. Like I'm a chronic planner. And so I love like knowing what every single step of the process is going to look like before I even take the first step. And that's something that I'm working on even to this day, because you don't get any traction that way, right? Like you have to do one thing at a time and worry about tomorrow when tomorrow gets here. So that is absolutely incredible. I could talk about mindset stuff all day, so we'll have to do that at some point, Robin.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about if someone had zero money, like I have no money, I'm brand new to this, I can't even afford coaching, where would you tell them to start?
Oh, that's a good point. I thought about that a lot, right? I think that's like a struggle people have. So first of all, today we have the internet, right? So you find data, you can find deals if you struggle. One of the lot packages, right? I tell you how I found that. It was like somewhere in Florida, and I was selling 2 lots in the subdivision, pulled up Zillow, and I found like, who is selling shit there for $130,000? And I was selling like 1 lot for there for 15 or 12, right? And I was pulling it up, and there were 50 of these lots in one package for $130,000.
Wow.
So I had now the opportunity to fund that and buy that. And I sold them off for around 500, right? So I will sell them off right now. They're in the marketing phase. So, but what you could do is like reach out to these people, right? So, hey, when you see a great deal, which is under market value, or you see a bandit sign on the road, that means people are interested in selling. Start calling them, find a conversation, right? Because sometimes maybe people are like thinking, hey, we have a lot of these conversations. Meanwhile, we just say, I will not buy your lot, but I will help you marketing your lot. I will take care that it gets sold, especially these people who for sale by owner, maybe they hate realtors, right? For what reason ever. And then you come along and say, hey, take care for you. Take care for that of that for you, right? I think that's a great thing. Like keep your eyes open, online or offline, when you drive down the road. And I think there's like big advantages like engaging realtors as well, text blasting them or whatever. These are advanced techniques, but I think just keep your eyes open. Great deals are everywhere, and try to help people first before you think over profit, right? And hey, maybe it's like you find this owner who says, hey, I need 20,000 for my lot and it's 28 worth. You bring it for 25, you sell it with the realtor, whatever, and you have this owner on board. Make $5,000. Repeat that. Do that 10 times a year. You have 50 grand. For what? Doing some phone calls. Everybody has a cell phone, right? Or maybe having a coffee with somebody, hanging out, reaching out. Maybe looking for scrolling some stuff online, right? Everybody's on Facebook, obviously. This is a Facebook group, right? Everybody's on Instagram or whatever. So everybody's always like online. So utilize that time. Find deals. They're everywhere. There's Facebook Marketplace. There's Zillow. There. Just like scroll a little bit around. And I mean, when you put some effort in that and like reach out, it's action, right? Which decides people who are successful or not successful. reach out to the people and start helping them. And I think then you'll find deals. That's possible, right?
That is really good stuff. So again, I just want to highlight this point, this idea of it's people first. And I think that if you approach business that way, in my personal opinion, you just can't lose. If you do the right thing, people first, and it's how can you solve problems? How can everyone walk away with value? You will find opportunities, right? So one of the things that I'd love to chat with you before we run out of time about is talk to us a little bit about how you went about building a virtual company from Germany, or were you in Germany at the time, or were you in Mallorca when you started flipping?
I moved to Mallorca in that time, but it doesn't matter.
Got
From
it.
outside the US, let's say it like this.
Outside
Right?
the US, how did you build a team and build a virtual? What were the steps? What did they look like? Like, who was your first hire? Then how did you scale that?
So I was always knowing that I didn't start this business to make $100,000 a year, right? So we had like a really big vision to scale this business to a 9-figure business over the next 8 or 10 years from now, right? And this is the approach we started in. So, and I know where I'm good at, and I know where I'm really bad at, right? So when I started in this business, I directly hired a VA for myself who was really, really good in like things I can't do. I'm not really good in detailed work, but he was really good in like doing all these details. And I took him in every coaching call and all that. And I was with him, learning that with him for a year, right? And we hired then a lot of other VAs, left some. And I was knowing that like having a great team will be the key factor of success, because when you're really honest with yourself, I'm good in like 2 things, really good in 2 things. And I like doing these 2 things. And I hate all the other things, I don't like to do them. So I did them, of course, in the beginning, but then I started like, okay, what don't you want to do, right? For example, like reading contracts. I hate reading contracts in German. When I read a contract in English, I don't have a clue. Right? Yeah. So it was like that. So while we learned this business, I had like classical VAs, right? So who did VA stuff, like doing calls, who like preparing marketing material and all that. In the end, to be honest, it's like when you hire a VA, you get what you pay, right? So it's like for $5, $6, $7, $8, $3 an hour, you get what you do there, and they can do simple work. But when I get this 230 properties like onboarded, okay, what do you do? I thought the next thing we need is process. So what I do in the first place is I'm really good in building processes and in writing that, like putting them together, but I'm not really good in executing that and like building a structure out of that. So I hired somebody doing that. That was the first step I did. I called that, I was Googling that at that point, a business process manager. This is what I hired because I'm a really bad executor. I'm a really good visionary. I'm like a really innovative and all that, but I'm not really good in executing. So I hired somebody who is good in executing. In the beginning, like 10 hours a week, then was 20. Meanwhile, she's full-time with us. And like, I think the center role, because we realized she's not really, and she's from South Africa, right? So we have like 8 countries, 8 nationalities, meanwhile, in our team, in like, I don't know how many time zones, which is ridiculous sometimes.
Wow.
But that was the first hire, right? This is the first hire. And then we started like building processes. I thought about like, how do I want to do stuff, right? How do I want to get stuff executed? And every process in my company is written down to a level that a 3-year-old could execute that from that where we broke it down to, with video education on that, right? And then I realized from that point was like, okay, when you really want to do business, you need like skill in the company. You need people with experience in their special fields, right? And this is where I started hiring subject matter experts, like a CMO. We have a full-time CMO. We have like 4 full-time sales reps from the US, right? We have like we just like shrink the team a little bit, but because like automations are taking place, right? We started automating a lot of things, but in the end, it was like really we had a clear plan of what do I want to delegate, where do I want to get rid of, how would this person need to look like, and do I want to manage that? Okay, then I need to hire a manager who has the skill set to do that, and they cost a lot of money. Okay, you will not get a manager for your sales team for like 10 grand a year, bringing you like 3, 4, 5 million. Right. So this is like the thing. I think to have a clear plan where you're good at and where you're not good at. And then like really, when we hire people, we ask them for personality tests and all that. We are really clear who do we want to hire for that role, and all of that combined with a really, really good company culture. We have like a really, really low fluctuation. Just when we replace processes through automations, we let people go. This is like evolution, I would say that, right? And even then, I try to find them a home, right, in another company with friends of mine or a new job or whatever. So I think this is like creating a culture, having a clear vision. What do you want to delegate? How do you want to have your company be like? These are like the most critical points to build a massive organization. And we were in between 32 people. That was ridiculous.
Wow.
You don't want that. 32 is like too much, right? It's a lot of headache, right? Never wanted to go back there, but we're now back down to 12 because we had a lot of automations we built, but we have a lot of like really people who have a lot of knowledge, and they think this is the critical factor. At one point when you don't know, don't spend hours, hire somebody. I have like a full-time guy, meanwhile, he's from Russia, right? And Russia is critical in the moment that you see what I do for my people. They created a mission statement last year, and they say this company feels like a family because we take care of each other. And I flew this guy with the war. We flew him to Dubai, from Dubai to Georgia, to Uzbekistan, to Turkey, to Finland. And meanwhile, we found a solution to migrate him to Turkey because we couldn't pay, to Finland because we couldn't pay him anymore. But he is like so skilled in that, what he does for us. He built our whole CRM world, our whole automation thing. We have like in a month 150,000 Zapier actions, which are like done. And I think 80,000 make.com actions, or however you call it. I couldn't do that by myself, so I hire people for that, and they cost money, of course. But you don't need to be afraid to spend some money on these people before you go for the next vacation or before you buy your next Louis Vuitton bag, which is nice as well, right? But spend the money, right? You earn and always like invest, and then I think have a clear vision where you want to go to. And you don't need to make that on my speed. You can do that over years and build that over years. But when you do that and follow your plan, like you said, then it's like the greatest thing I think you can have. Like having plans and following them makes life so much easy, because when you're in plan, you can rest, and you need to rest in between. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes total sense. That makes total sense. Yes. So I think, what's so important and what stuck out to me so much about that is just how important it is to be intentional about what you're building in your business, from the plans to the culture to how, the people that you hire, how do those people fit in? I think that is so, so critical. You mentioned earlier about that, obviously you're a visionary. You really like sort of envisioning processes. What would you consider to be your superpower?
Oh, that's a great question, Shalana. It's building system, thinking processes. I'm really good at that. And I think my second superpower is making people excited about everything. And
that's a big one.
That helps me. That's a big one. That helps me a lot in my business. That is like my team is burning because of that. My business partners I think because I believe in that. When I just like put somebody in flames, I believe that this will be successful. If it's not successful, I just take the responsibility, right? And just like say, hey, okay, my fault, but we will make it better next time. Let's do it, right? And it helps you in networking. I love people, right? This comes with it. I love to spend time with people. And when you do that, I think these two superpowers brought me to there where I'm at. And when you start with 34 in new or 33 in new career in a country you have never been in, where you don't know the language, and I think I always show that, like, in this thing here, I have about like 16,500 contacts, right, in my phone I made over the past 15 years. And I started with 0 contacts 3 years ago. And meanwhile, I have friends everywhere, right? So I could say that, like, I could call anybody. Like, when I want to go to Dallas, I could stay in Fort Worth, like with Brad, right? Or I could, like, my girlfriend, she's from San Diego. Like, I have a lot of friends in Florida, in North Carolina, in New York, in Massachusetts. They're everywhere because I love to connect with people. So everybody listening to the podcast, reach out to me. Let's talk. Maybe I can help you with anything, right?
I love that. So, are there any entrepreneurs or business owners that you like to follow, that you like to listen to on YouTube or podcasts or anything like that?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot of people ask me that. I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. Like, really, really, really standard. I'm a really spiritual person. I like some German spiritualists I follow. And Tony Robbins, to be honest, when you just like follow that, what he preaches, it's like so powerful, right? Because it's simple, like laws. And yeah, and I love everything about business. It's like, when I don't have like a specific one, I would say, but when I hear something, for sure, I love your podcast now, right? And I listened already to a few episodes, and I really like that. I think, like, from that perspective, there are like 2 or 3 people which are really mainstream, but they're really like crazy for me. Is Steve Jobs, right? What he created with Apple, like with this thing here. He revolutionized the world like 17 years ago by how he was thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, revolutionizing the world, right? Like, it's about solutions, right? The second great guy, and that is Jeff Bezos. Amazon, you can talk about culture and all that, but Amazon for me is my big role model when I build companies from a customer service perspective. Because when you deal with Amazon, everything is easy as a customer. Everything is great there, right? You have something, you order here this AirPods, they don't work, they just send you new ones. Right? It's no discussion, right?
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. And he solved like a big problem. And the third one is Elon Musk. What he does is like, these guys are like just like solving problems all day long, and first world problems. And this is what I like. This is what entrepreneurship is for me about. Yeah. I think these are like the big 3 I would follow there. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. If you could go back and tell yourself 3 pieces of advice when you were a brand new land flipper, what would you say?
Put your ego away. Number 1. It's never that what you think. It's that what you really are. Sometimes you just like need to get that away. Stay consistent. And have a big why, right? This is like what keeps you going, what brings you through the dark days. And, we're always hearing, maybe you think now in this podcast, this guy, Kendall and Robin and Brad, they're so super successful. And guys, when we're really honest with ourselves, we have the dark days as well, right? Where you just like get up and think, what the fuck, right? You just like step in, like, I don't know, in the morning you go with your dog, step in the first dog shit you find there, right? It's like these days where everything, we have them as well. Like, I had a day like where 5 closings have been rescheduled for like 3-4 weeks in the future. And it was like not $10,000 deals. It was like, boom, a massive amount. You have these days. And when you don't have a big why, are these days where you quit? Are these days when I didn't do a deal for 12 months? You need this big why, which keeps you going, right? And you need to anchor that. You need to feel that. Don't make a why, I want to earn $10,000. No, it's about what would this $10,000 mean to you, right? What is like when you can get your kids out of school, when you can spend time with them after school, when you can bring them to school and not driving like 2 hours to your job or 2 hours back or whatever. It's about that. And I think these are like the 3 things. Yeah, I would say the why, the consistency, and put your ego away.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I'll say that, right? That's like, for me, it's like good time with good people, right? I just like talk with my girl today about that. It's like just like and being grateful about the opportunities. Yeah. So when I live here, right, I get up in the morning, I walk down the hallway and just like walk in the sun and watch on the ocean. Maybe we go out for a coffee, meet some friends who are real estate investors or whatever. I can go for kite surfing, right? I love to be on the water. This is like what gives me power, energy. And then when you spend this time with good people, this is like good food. I love wine, right? So these are like the good things. When you combine all of this, then I'm the happiest person I'm on the planet. And to be honest, I'm like a happy person, I would say. Doesn't matter to look on the down. It doesn't make sense for me to look on the downsides. You always should look on the upside, right?
I love that. I love that. What is your biggest passion or goal that you'd like to achieve at this point in your life?
Oh, my biggest goal?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Like, you mean professionally or? So I have like, let me break that down. I have like five pillars of freedom.
Let's
The
do
first
it.
one is the freedom of location. I already reached that. The freedom of time. I already reached that. So I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, right? So it's like, when I don't want to work today, I work tomorrow. When I don't want to work tomorrow, I work the day after. I can decide what do I do when. Like today, we need to go to a doctor's appointment and all that. Yeah, then I just do that, right? So this is what I have. The third thing is the freedom, the financial freedom, of course. I'm not there, but I'm on my way to that. That has a number for me, and I just work on that. The fourth one is the freedom of impact. What do I mean by that? I want to decide by myself, where do I impact? Do I need to take this 1 hour and 15 minutes at 12 a.m. my time to talk to awesome Candle right here on this podcast or not? Do I need to take this time when I, for example, do that for my coaching calls for Jack, which I at 2 a.m. my night when it's group coaching calls? Do I need to do that? Do I need to take time to go like to, I don't know, a charity event or whatever? No, but I have the decision to do that. Do I, I'm launching a podcast with my friend as well, right? It will come out this weekend, right? Do we need to spend that hour a week? No, but we love to do that because we know many people will like get something out of that. This is the freedom of impact. I reached that more or less, and it can be even bigger. And this is like what's really driving me, like having a world where people are like free thinkers and not like in that what we are right now, right? And the fifth big thing for me is like the freedom of, not from relationships, right? I always need to say that, right? Like I can decide every day who I spend my time with, and I don't need to if I don't want to. Right. And I think like having this 5 in balance and like making them bigger and bigger and bigger, this is like what is my passion, what keeps me going every day, just like what I'm really passionate about. It's like just freedom and like what can I do with that, right?
You are speaking my language, Rob. I mean, like, seriously, it sounds like you're reading a page out of my journal or something. Freedom has always been such a core value for me, and I love the way that you organize that, because it really is. I mean, at the very core of everything in terms of who you get to spend your time with. I mean, that's huge. I mean, like, if you're listening to this and you haven't really thought through that, just think about how powerful that is, that you get to spend your time doing what you want to do with the people you want to be around. I mean, it's just, it's everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
So incredible stuff. Robin, I want to thank you so much for giving to us today. How can we give to you right now? What resources or connections are you looking for currently?
So, of course, we always look for deals, right? So we can help, like I can help, obviously, I think with development deals and all that. But Hey, if you're excited, like maybe exploring our platform, like write us an email to support@onlinelandmarket.com. Just like write an email to there, hey, I'm interested to maybe go in the beta phase or to be a customer, just like reach out to us. Because we want to engage with you as well. What are your needs, that we design our services in a way that you want them? I think that would be really beneficial, right? To get like some awesome land flippers on board there. And no matter if you do 3-day deals a year or 3,000, right? We want to speak to you and just like do benefits. And hey, if you want to have a second podcast where you want to listen to, look at the Land Bros podcast, right? It will be me and my friend David van Ginverhoven. We will launch this weekend. Just watch out for the Land Bros podcast. This is where you can help us. And beside of that, I'm so happy that you were having me. And I think what you built here is awesome. You just like do what I always pray, just like give before you receive. And I think you give a lot when I see here so many questions, and when I see that group, how active you are, what people you have here on the podcast. It's awesome what you do here. So just like keep going. I'm super happy that I could share a little bit of my story, and that you gave me the space here to share some of my German thoughts and about German engineering of companies, right? And thank you so much, Kendall, for that opportunity. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Again, if people want to check out your new system that you're creating, they can connect with you at support@onlinelandmarket.com. Is that right?
Yes, support@onlinelandmarket.com. Yeah.
Perfect. And then your new podcast, the Land Bros podcast, is dropping. When is that dropping again?
Oh, it's Sunday. I think we will go live Sunday is the last info I got. Or just, you can add me on Facebook too, right? Robin Seib. It's really easy. Just like put me in there.
Well, Robin, I just want to thank you so much. This has been absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to take a listen to the replay and break down that math. But so many fantastic things. Thank you for being so generous with your time. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a fantastic week. We will be with you next week, next Thursday. And if you are listening to this and you have not joined our community, it's absolutely free. Go to OnlyLandFans.com. Reach out to Robin. He's got some great opportunities as well, some great platforms. So everyone have a great week. Be great, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
If you're interested in hearing from other 7-figure land flippers about how they've started and run their businesses, then join us at OnlyLandFans.com. Looking forward to seeing you there.